she was yelling, "Are they working on him?" And then at that point, she grabbed my hands and she said, "Google hypothermia, Google how long it
Three
takes
times.
to die
I hit
in the
him,
cold."
I hit him, I hit him.
So I had my phone out and it was cold and my hands were frozen and I have MS.
Three
and
times.
I took my
I hit
phone
him,
out
I hit
while
him,
she
I
was
hit him.
screaming and shaking my arm, and I attempted to Google how long does it take to die in the cold.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the jury.
Sure. Jennifer
times.
McCabe.
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
MCCABE.
And where do you live, ma'am?
Canton.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Approximately 20, well, my whole life I lived in Canton, except when I first got married, I lived in Stoughton for a year or two.
And do you recall which vehicle that you were in going around Canton that night?
I believe it was my car, yes.
And what kind of car was that?
Denali, Yukon, I think. Denali, yeah.
So bigger type vehicles? That
Yes, big SUV.
Now, with respect to, you had a cell phone around that time, is that correct?
Yes.
Your cell phone, what if any connection did that have between the cell phone and the vehicle?
At that point, I don't think mine was connected. I'm not sure.
How long had you known John?
Approximately 10 years.
And how was it that you first came to know John?
John's sister and her husband lived in the neighborhood, and my daughter became friends with John's niece when they were in kindergarten. And during that kindergarten year, John's sister and then brother-in-law passed away, and John moved in and took care of the kids. So my daughter was very good friends with his niece. And so, she would be over all the time, and JJ would come over with Patrick and pick her up, and he would come in and talk to us and hang out.
And how would you describe your relationship with John O'Keefe?
He was my friend. I love John. He was an amazing guy.
Now, with reference to Karen Reed, and just for clarity purposes, do you see Karen Reed in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Did you identify just as to where she's seated or not?
She's seated between her attorneys.
John just has to record reflect identification
Yes.
by the witness. Now, with respect to the defendant, Ms. Reed, when was it that you met her?
John had reached out to me saying that he was dating a new girl and that she had MS and I also have MS. So he said he would like for me to meet her.
And do you recall specifically when around that was, what year, what month, anything like that?
That I met Miss Reed?
Yes.
Yes, they came over in July of 2020.
And came over to your house, is that correct?
Yes, they came over to the house. They brought the kids, swam. I have a pool.
Describe your relationship with Ms. Reed.
I enjoyed Miss Reed. I really liked her. I thought we connected from the beginning. She was very easy to talk to. She had MS, I had MS, and there's not a lot of people our age that I personally know that have it. So it was nice to have someone who understood like what I was going through. So we had that in common.
Now, over the course of the evening at the waterfall, what, if any, discussion was there amongst the group as far as going somewhere next or what to do after the waterfall?
Karen had asked Chris if we could go up to D&E. She wanted to go up to D&E and have him cook some food.
And was that something that was brought up by the defendant once, more than once, or something else?
Many times.
And what was sort of the response from the group in regard to going to D&E and making food?
So Brian, Chris, and Matt do this annual weight loss challenge every year, and it was in the midst of that. So they were like, no, we can't go up there. We're not going to eat. We'll do it another time.
Now, following that conversation, what, if any, other, let me ask you this, why did you go to the waterfall in the first place?
So I went to meet my sister, Nicole. She was heading there because she was going to go have a drink with her. Her son was going to have some friends and then meet out. So I was going to meet them for a drink for my nephew's birthday.
To be clear, that nephew was Brian Albert Jr., is that right?
Yes.
And did Brian Albert Jr. ever show up at the waterfall that evening?
He did not know.
Do you know why not?
Brian suffers from anxiety, and during that time period, he was really struggling.
All right, so we're down here at C.F. McCarthy's. Who are you?
Who am I? You know who the fuck I am?
Listen,
Who am I?
Which one are you?
You don't know who I am?
Which one's that?
what? I think
Put down your fucking phone.
he's the older Albert, Chris
The mustache?
Albert Jr. I think, right?
Oh, Albert Jr. Is that? Oh, gotcha. I didn't. The mustache. You guys seem really intimidated. You guys seem really intimidated. You guys seem really intimidated.
By him? I wonder if he's gonna beat you too, like the other one. He'll be in jail for that baby. Like that's gonna stink. That baby won't have his dad.
Baby won't have his
Camera on your
dad.
phone. Look at this. Look. All the time. You fucking you do. You gotta be a fucking loser too.
Brian suffers from anxiety, and during that time period, he was really struggling.
Like that's gonna stink. That baby won't have a dad. All the time. You had your fucking camera on your phone. Look at this. Look. Look.
Wow, we were just trying to leave and go to our car, and they're all coming after us. Well, please. Oh my god.
Shit. You fucking maggot.
Oh my god.
You're a fucking maggot.
Brian suffers from anxiety, and during that time period, he was really struggling.
Put down on you fucking
Shit. Oh, we have all of this on our for the blog.
Just went in here. We went in here to C.F. McCarthy's, and we ate dinner. Okay, we ate dinner, and then all of a sudden we got assaulted by these goons on video. These guys who claim to be so scared. We're just trying to eat. We're just trying to eat. We're just trying to eat a meal of food. We're just trying to eat a meal of food. Again, this is wild shit, man. Can you believe this is happening, dude? What are they like? This is wild. These guys, they prove me right every single time. Every time, baby. Every time. I hope you're ready to hear the words "not guilty," right? Get ready for the words "not guilty." Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Get used to those words. You're going to hear it this week.
Brian suffers from anxiety, and during that time period, he was really struggling.
So he decided to stay home?
He just decided to stay home, yes.
If I could just ask, with regard to your sister's husband, Brian, how long have you known him?
Since I was in kindergarten, very long time.
So they had dated for some period of time before they got married, and they've been married for some significant period of time.
Yeah, she had a crush on him for years. Then they dated, I think, for 10 years, and before they got married. So yeah, they've been together most of my life.
You familiar with a gentleman named, someone named Colin Albert?
I am, yes.
And how do you know him?
He is my friend's son and my sister's nephew.
Your friend Julie's son, correct?
Yeah, so my friend Julie's son.
And your oldest daughter, Lally, was Colin friends, or is Colin friends with your oldest daughter, Lally?
Yes, they're born a week or two apart, and we've kind of just, they've done everything together. They're very good friends.
Now, at any point in time that you were there on that early morning, did you see Colin Albert at all?
No.
And when you arrived at the house, obviously you're familiar with your daughter and the car that she drives around that time. Did you see your daughter there, Allie, at any point in time?
No.
About how long a period of time was it that you were there, or about what time did you leave?
I believe I left approximately around 1:30, 1:45, approximately.
And do you know about what time it was that you arrived there?
I'd say approximately somewhere between 12:20, 12:30. Well, 12:20, I believe, 12:20-ish, because the last call from John, when I went back and looked, was 12:18.
Now, similar to what I asked about the waterfall, as far as the sort of mood, demeanor inside the house, what, if anything, do you recall with respect to that?
Good. Everybody was in a good mood. There was no, Brian and Brian were talking. My sister was cleaning. I was talking with the kids. Just a normal night.
You mentioned Julie Nagel, Sarah Levinson. Were those people that you knew prior to that night of the 28th?
I was familiar with who Sarah Levinson was, maybe had run into her at different points. Julie Nagel was closer to Brian, so I would see her. I think she's dog sat for me when I've been away. Like, Brian will do it, but then if he's not available, Julie will do it. I don't know if she had dog sat for me before then or right after then, but I was definitely familiar with Julie. And she possibly could have dog sat for me prior to that.
And now with reference, when you get into the vehicle and as the vehicle is pulling away, what, if any, conversation do you recall having with anyone in the car?
I turned around and was facing them and talking to them, and I believe Sarah Levinson had laughed or made a joke because I had bread or something in my car, and we made a joke about that. I had had my niece earlier that week for the week, and so I had brought stuff in the car because I was dragging her from one of my kids' sporting events to the next.
And when you and your husband Matt got home, went inside the house, and where did you go?
I went upstairs to bed.
And at some point, did your husband come up as well?
He did.
Was it a long period of time between when you arrived home and when your husband came up?
I don't think too long. I think he had like some cheese or something because he was on a crazy diet, and then he came upstairs.
Now, did you go right to sleep, or what, if anything, did you do when you went up to bed?
I asked him to watch a show. He said no, he was going to fall asleep, which he does usually immediately, and I went on my phone.
And what, if anything, do you recall doing on your phone as far as going on?
I was researching, my husband and I did briefly talk. My daughter had gotten an offer to play on a club
Just tell us what you were doing, please.
Sure. I was researching a basketball team, and I believe I also texted my sisters, and I texted in a group chat with my husband and another individual.
Turn your attention back to when you were at the house on Fairview that evening, and I believe this is the last time, so I apologize for the back and forth. But when you were there, what, if any, videos or any music or anything did you pull up on your phone to share with the group that you were there?
So one of my sisters loves this song "Raining Men," and she always, well, not always, maybe every once in a while, she has a little too much to drink and takes out an umbrella and sings and dances, and it's like a big family joke. And my other nephew had previously been over and showed me the video from whenever, I don't know if it's the 1970s, of It's Raining Men. So I just was playing it, showing my other nieces and nephews, and we were just like laughing because they all have umbrellas, and it's just something, it's like an inside family joke. So I played that, I think, a couple of times.
And so after you get home and you're looking at the basketball program and things of that nature, at this time you had an iPhone, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you also have an Apple Watch?
I did, yes.
And do you recall whether or not you were wearing the Apple Watch that evening or when you went to bed or anything like that?
I do not recall.
And as far as the Apple Watch is concerned, is that something that you routinely or always take off before you go to bed or not?
Mostly, but not always. I mean, there are times I go to bed with it on. More often than not, I take it off, but there are times that I do sleep with it.
And with respect to this particular evening, do you recall whether you had it on or whether you took it off or even had it on at all that night?
I don't recall if I had it on that night.
And at some point later on in the morning, you wake up, correct?
Correct.
And what is it that wakes you up, and when about was that?
I am woken up to my phone ringing.
And do you know what time it was?
4:53.
And according to your phone, who was calling you at 4:53?
John's niece.
And so that would be John's niece, Kaylee, is that correct?
Correct.
And how old was she at this time?
I believe she was 14.
And she had just gotten into Bishop Thean, correct?
Correct.
So she was in 8th grade going in, finishing up her 8th grade year of middle school, correct?
Yes.
Is that a normal thing, that Kaylee would be calling you at 4:53 in the morning on a Saturday?
No.
So you answer the call, is that correct?
Yes.
When you answer the call, who, if anyone, is initially on the other end?
Initially, it's Kaylee.
And what, if anything, did Kaylee say to you?
That John didn't come home and Karen and we wanted to talk to me.
And even in that initial call, when you're speaking to Kaylee, what, if anything, do you hear sort of in the background while you're talking?
Karen screaming.
And could you hear what she was screaming?
She was just screaming, Jen, Jen, Jen,
Fairly loudly, is that correct?
extremely. She proceeds to scream my name multiple times, and she tells me that John didn't come home, they got into a fight, and that she left him at the waterfall.
And how do you respond to that?
I had just woken up. I was confused. I didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? And then she, told me that they had gotten into a fight and she left him there and now where is he? And she was just kept screaming my name over and over. And so then I remembered that Chris Albert had still been at the bar. So I thought, well, maybe John walked home with Chris because Chris lives close to the waterfall.
And so, at some point, that conversation ended, and you recall how that ended?
I told her that I was going to call Julie and see if John had ended up with Chris.
And so, you hang up with her, and then what did you do then?
I called Julie Albert.
And did Julie pick up the phone?
She did not.
And as you were calling Julie, did you have any conversation with your husband, Matt, around that time?
Yes. He, had kind of shot up out of bed when Karen had called. When Kaylee had called because Karen was screaming. And then he was, what's going on? And I said, well, I'm calling Julie because Karen, they got into a fight, and I was trying to explain it to him. And he said, what are you talking about? We saw them outside of your sister's house. And at that point, I hung up.
And when you hung up, Julie had not answered yet, is that correct?
Correct. I get in touch with Karen again, and I say, Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
And what was her response to that?
She told me that she didn't remember going there, and then she started yelling, Jen, Jen, and then she was saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And then she proceeded to say that she had a cracked taillight.
And this is while you're still in your home and you're in your bedroom, correct?
Correct. Earlier in the night, there was another individual who we had been in contact with, or my husband had been talking to, and he had mentioned that he was gonna meet up with John at Waterfall as well, but he never ended up coming. I knew he was at a house close to Fairview, so I thought, well, maybe if they got into a fight, like John might have texted this individual, and maybe he just ended up on his couch.
Who was that individual?
Tom Beatty.
And who is Tom Beatty in relation to, how did you know him?
He has two daughters that are the same age as my daughters.
Was opening your door, hearing the screaming from out front, was that something that surprised you?
Yes.
And when you hear the screaming, if you could just explain to the jury, how loud was the screaming that you were hearing?
Very loud.
And what, if anything, was she saying at this point?
It was more of the, Jen, Jen, did I hit him? And then she would yell, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And then she was yelling, we have to go to Fairview. I told Karen that I was going to drive her car because I didn't want her driving because she was hysterical. So we got in her car, and then Kerry Roberts called Karen. And then Karen was screaming and, saying that she had cracked her taillight. We need to go to Fairview. Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? And then she would just scream our names. Kerry was telling her to shut up, that we needed to just go back to John's, and we'll drive in one car, and let's go to John's. Maybe he's there and he's passed out and you didn't see him.
Did you know Kerry Roberts prior to this morning of January 29th?
I had met her once before.
And can you describe for the jury sort of the circumstances of that, or how you knew her prior to January 29th?
Way back when, after John's sister and brother-in-law died, I would have Kaylee a lot, and Carrie would have Patrick. And one day, John said, I get a discount at Reebok. I'm going to take you guys for sneakers. Get all your kids' sizes. So he took Carrie and myself, and we went to Reebok and bought sneakers for all my girls and me. And then he took Carrie and I to the hillside for lunch just to thank him for, helping, because that's what he did.
After the three of you get out of your respective vehicles, what happened next?
Karen brings us to the back of the car and says, look, see, I have a cracked taillight. I saw that there were missing pieces, but there was also snow covering it. And Karen was screaming, look, look, and then Carrie was screaming back at her. It was very chaotic, so I didn't stare in depth, but what I can tell you is I saw missing pieces from the taillight.
And so when you and Ms. Roberts and Ms. Reed walked into the home that morning, into the mudroom, what did you do? What did Ms. Roberts do? What did Ms. Reed do?
I took off my boots or shoes, whatever I had on. Carrie Roberts took off. Karen just ran straight in the house.
You and Ms. Roberts both took off your shoes, and Ms. Reed then just walked into the house with boots or shoes or whatever she was wearing on.
Yes.
So you have some conversation with Kaylee, is that right?
Yes.
And about how long a conversation did you have with Kaylee?
Probably about a few minutes.
And when you left from Kaylee, what is it that you said to her as you were leaving?
Protection.
I promised Kaylee. I promised Kaylee that I would find John and everything was going to be okay.
The taillight, if you could, with the laser pointer, just direct the jury's attention to where you observed that. Now, ma'am, with respect to what's depicted in this photograph as far as any damage that you observed to this taillight area on the rear passenger side, is that consistent with what you observed in the driveway at One of Meadows Ave when the defendant was showing?
Correct, minus the snow, etc.
Why were you going to Fairview?
Because Karen kept screaming, we need to go to Fairview.
Now, who was seated where within the vehicle when you get in?
Carrie was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and Karen was in the back.
What's going on inside the car over the course of that ride?
Karen is in between us, like from the back, kind of pushing up in between Carrie and myself. And she's just screaming, Carrie, Carrie, her name over and over, my name over and over, and repeating certain phrases. Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Carrie is yelling at her to shut up, to sit back, to buckle up, to look for John.
And while this is going on, what, if anything, are you and Ms. Roberts doing in the front seat of the car?
She's slowly driving, and I'm just peering out the window looking for John. I mean, it was a crazy situation. She's screaming, he didn't come home. Could he be walking home? Where is he? So we're just looking out the window, looking for John. We drive past the flagpole area, and all of a sudden, Karen starts screaming, there he is, and she's banging to get out.
And banging on the door in the back seat?
Yes.
And at the time that she's saying this, were you able to see anything outside of the vehicle?
I saw nothing.
And what, if anything, when she's banging and kicking or banging on the door, what did Ms. Roberts do?
Miss Roberts unlocked the door. Karen got out. Miss Roberts looked at me and said something like, she's crazy or she's batshit crazy, something like that.
And when the defendant gets out of the vehicle, where is it that she goes?
She just runs
And runs with?
straight to John.
And And again, when she's running, at this point in time, can you see what she's running toward or where she's going or anything that she's talking about seeing?
I was on the passenger side, so as I got out, she was already at John.
So she gets out and essentially makes a beeline over to where John was,
Correct.
and you're getting out of the passenger side, and by the time you come around the car, she's already there.
Yes. I got out of the car and I came around, and for a second or two, I completely just froze. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then Carrie and I made eye contact, and I called 911. And Carrie was asking me to go to the car and get, she was yelling to get towels or blankets or something out of the back of our car.
Is that why the back of the car is opened up in the video that we just saw in reference to Ms. Roberts' vehicle?
Yes.
Did she direct you sort of where to go within the vehicle to find the blankets or the towels, wherever it was?
Yes. I saw Carrie wiping the snow off of John's face, and I could not believe that that was John laying there.
And how was John positioned, or how was his body positioned when you saw him?
He was just laying flat on his back.
And as far as the snow Ms. Roberts was wiping off his face, was there any other snow on his body at that time?
Yes.
Could you tell at that point how far Mr. O'Keefe was from the roadway as far as Fairview Road was concerned?
I mean, I remember kind of a little ways in. I don't know exactly. So I run the blankets over to Miss Roberts, and she's kind of lifts him up, put the blankets underneath him, and she's screaming at Miss Reed to get off of Mr. O'Keefe, and they're kind of yelling back and forth. Karen's screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" I, at some points, walk over towards the car, Carrie's car, to get away because they're so loud. And I was trying to be calm and get help there for John as fast as possible. Carrie starts yelling about doing CPR. She tells Karen to do mouth to mouth. Karen's yelling because as they start, blood starts coming out of John's mouth. I know it was Officer Saraf was the first officer to arrive. He was trying to figure out what had happened. Karen just ran around screaming my name, Carrie's name. Is he dead? Is he dead? It was on repeat. Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? More officers started to arrive. The EMTs, they began to work on him. More officers began to arrive. Miss Reed just continued to run around screaming. As more officers and EMT arrived, they asked what happened. One EMT asked,
I'll allow it.
one EMT had asked, his name, his age, things like that. If she knew what happened, Miss Reed stated that she hit him. Besides running around saying, I hit him, did I hit him, could I have done this? Is he dead? Is he dead? At one point, one of the police officers put Miss Reed in the back of her cruiser, and he asked for myself to go over with her, and Carrie came over with us as well.
You indicated that the defendant said, I hit him, is that correct?
Yes,
Is that something that she said once or more than once?
3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Now, before you indicated that the defendant said, I hit him, is that correct?
Yes,
Is that something that she said once or more than once?
3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Now, reference the statement she made with sort of qualifiers or questions as far as could I have hit him or did I hit him? Is that what she said at that time when she was speaking to the paramedic?
No, she was earlier. It was could I, did I. When she spoke to the paramedic, it was crystal clear. I hit him. We were in the back of the police cruiser. Karen was sitting in there. I kind of scooched myself in. Miss Roberts came over. Karen grabbed our hands. She asked us to pray. She looked at her hands and she had blood. She asked us if she could have gotten her period. We told her no, that was John's blood. Then she said, what if he's dead? Promise me you'll take care of the kids. Someone's going to take care of the kids. Then we prayed. Then at the end, they were moving John. And at that point, Karen told Kerry, go over, look, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? Over and over. And Kerry said, I'll go over and check on him. And she was yelling, are they working on him? And then at that point, she grabbed my hands and she said, Google hypothermia, Google how long it takes to die in the cold. And so I had my phone out and it was cold and my hands were frozen and I have MS, and I took my phone out while she was screaming and shaking my arm, and I attempted to Google how long does it take to die in the cold. I went up the stairs to their bedroom.
When you arrived there, was it open or closed or something?
Closed.
And you opened it?
Yes.
And when you opened it, who, if anyone, did you see in the room and what were they doing?
I saw my sister and Brian, and they were both asleep.
And you familiar with a dog that they have?
Yes.
What was the dog's name?
Chloe?
Was Chloe in the bedroom as well at that time?
I don't recall.
You come in, they're both sleeping, and what happened then?
I go over to the bed, and I'm calling out their names.
And how long were you calling out their names before you got any kind of response?
Brian responded first, and he was very, startled and looked at me like, what is going on? Nicole took a little, and, I think it took Nicole a little bit longer than Brian to wake up. I'm telling them that we just found John out front, and I could have possibly said, John has died. We just found John out front. They were very confused. At one point, I think Brian was like, who's John? I mean, they'd just woken up, and they had no idea what I was talking about. They got up, got dressed, and then we walked down the stairs. There was a police officer at the bottom of the stairs. Yes, Officer Lank.
At that time, did you know who that police officer was?
I did, yes.
How did you know?
He's from Canton. He was, 5 years older than me. I knew him kind of growing up, who he was, and met him through the years.
So you're aware of who he was?
Yes.
Who, if anyone else, was at the house that morning while you were there?
Officer Lank and Gallagher were there. And Brian Higgins came that morning.
You mentioned that Officer Lank came back to the house, is that right?
Yes.
That was after some period of time when he had left?
Yes.
He came back with another officer named Gallagher, is that right?
Yes.
And why did they come back to the house if you know?
Because I called Officer Lank. Well, as I was sitting there and I was waiting for the state police to come, I was slowly trying to piece together what had just happened in the last couple of hours. And he had told me, if there's anything that you remember, if you remember anything, please, give me a call.
And so there was something that you remembered and you gave him a call.
Yes.
And when he came back to the house, what was it that you told him?
I told him about the comments and the remarks that Karen Reed had been stating that morning.
And specifically, what type of remarks are you referring to that you told Officer Lank when he came back to the house?
I said that she told one of the EMTs that she hit him.
Once you arrive back home, what is it that you did at that point?
We went in the house, and Officer Proctor was coming over to speak with us.
And that Officer Proctor, is that someone that you knew previously or had ever met before?
I had never met Officer Proctor.
Hey, Lally, are you in on the cover-up, or are you just a useless government stooge? Mr. Lally, why are you lying about Jen McCabe's kids not being in that photo with Michael Proctor? It's clearly them, Mr. Lally. Are you in on the cover-up? Are you worried about going to jail? Mr. Lally, you should be. Jen, why did you Google how long did I in cold at 2:27 in the morning, Jen? Any comment on that? Any comment on that?
We went in the house, and Officer Proctor was coming over to speak with us.
And that Officer Proctor, is that someone that you knew previously or had ever met before?
I had never met Officer Proctor.
And did he come alone or was he with someone else?
He had another officer with him.
You know who that officer is?
Yes, Yuri Buchanan.
In addition to the officers from the state police, did anybody else come over to your house on that day, late morning, early afternoon?
Yes, my brother-in-law, Brian.
And do you know why he came over that?
Yes, he came over. I had asked him. He's like a big brother to me, and I was all shaken up and nervous and overwhelmed, and so I wanted his support.
We support all our folks, and the reality is that, I get information passed on, whether people are high or low, and I encourage everyone, right? And if you're going to work here and you belong here, then we're going to encourage you.
And he obliged and he came over, correct?
Yes,
The defendant misread for Ms. Roberts' information because you didn't have it, correct?
correct.
And at some point, did you receive that information from the defendant?
No,
And did you receive that information from any other source?
I must have, but I don't recall how.
And as far as asking for Ms. Roberts' information, why were you asking?
She was on the way to pick up John's parents and to bring him to the hospital, and I wanted to check in on them, and then further updates from Kerry about John and how he was.
You wanted to know how your friend was doing, correct?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
4 minutes of 4, I think we're way too much everyone.
I don't think I can get it done in 4 minutes.
All right, jurors. 4 minutes of 4, I think we're way too much everyone.
I don't think I can get it done in 4 minutes.